Yeah, yeah. You just found out now?
Well, I knew she, apparently this afternoon she wasn't feeling too well, and of course
What is
Buckingham Palace,
it?
everything's so hush hush. She might have been dead for 3 days. So
All right, welcome to the Metal Voice today on the show. You got it. It's not Sydney Zonder. It's
My daughter taking over
it's
my.
Mark Zonder. Maybe we should change that. Here, let me see if I can
we've
change
got
that
nothing
for you.
against Sydney.
Hey,
No, no, I could change it. Rename.
okay,
Don't worry, it'll be temporary.
okay.
We'll get Mark up and running.
There we go. Look at that. We got him there. Everybody live on the Metal
There we
Voice.
go.
We are changing names.
What? No capital?
Yeah. What's wrong with you?
Okay, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah, we'll rename it. We'll rename it. What are we going to do here?
Oh,
We're
your
going to leave you
daughter's
uncapitalized.
Yeah, well,
You got a nickname you want to use?
Thunderchild.
Sydney.
Come on, man.
Thunderchild. There you
Where
go.
you been? Get it up. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Okay.
Well,
All right.
better
Go
late
ahead.
than never. We've got Mark on. We've been trying to do this interview for quite some time now, and we're ecstatic that we've got Mark Zonder on the Metal Voice here today to talk about this great new album, A through Z, or is it A to Z or AZ or
A through Z. Or
A
if you
through
want to
Z?
It's
double
apple to zebra. It's apple,
yeah.
apple to zebra.
Yeah, absolutely. Call it any way you want.
All right. First things first. The album came out. What, it was about a week ago, Mark?
Well, August 12th. Came out on August 12th.
Ooh, time flies, Mark. Time flies. We'll pretend like today was released because today's the day that really counts, anyways, right? You're on the show. Today is the day.
Absolutely.
All right. So, how did this come together, Mark? How did you and Ray get together finally after so many years of being apart, both being part of Fate's Warning, especially in the heyday of Fate's Warning? Not to say there's no heyday today, but still, it was the sort of the classic era, we'll call it.
Yeah, it sounds like it's like a love affair went wrong or something now that we're back together. But no, actually, while putting this band together, Ray was the last piece. I tried to do the same kind of concept back in 2007 with my band Slavior, with Greg Anaya and Wayne Finley and Philip Bino. Basically, Richie Blackmore's not calling, Marillion's not calling. If I want to do something, I'm going to have to do it myself. Okay. So, I've come to that realization a long time ago. So I record drum grooves and drum beats all the time. And I was just looking for a guy that I could start writing with. And then we kind of build it from there. I called Matt Guillory and I talked to him. And he said he was very busy, which obviously today we know is code for you're not paying enough money, which is cool. And I get it. And I'm good. It's cool. You got to just talk to people. So he told me to call Vivian. So I did. And we talked and he explained how basically his dad is my age and he was in high school listening to all the records that we did and everything like that. And just started sending musical ideas back and forth. And it just rolled from there. And it was actually very easy because as much as Philip Bino is always with me, Jupe is always with Vivian because they've been together for like 20 years. They've worked together for 20 years. And it's like the go-to guy, just like Philip. If I'm playing, Philip's playing. So all of a sudden we have a band real quick. And it was great. And more importantly, that even when I heard what Viv did right off the bat, like what Jupe did right off the bat, guitar wise, I was just completely floored. It was like the perfect guy, overly melodic, can shred if you have to, but just tasty. Really reminded me kind of a Neil Sean kind of thing, but with a little bit more, I don't want to say anger, but back like maybe Neil in the first 3 Journey records, maybe, or anyways. And there we were, and we're writing music and we're sending it back and forth. Musically it's flying. There's no problems. We're recording things at certain tempos, building parts. Hey, what do you think if it goes to a halftime feel here? And hey, I hear it more like a power ballad, whatever. We're just putting music together. Sent this out to about maybe 20 singers, big ones, small ones you've heard of, ones you haven't heard of. Phil Ahart turned me on to a bunch of guys, when Kansas replaced their singer for me to talk to. Just no one really got it. From the beginning, this was always about big hooks, big songs. Yes, with the players that are involved, it's going to be some serious playing. There's going to be great chops and all that. I'm not worried about that. But vocals right from the beginning, big hooks. If you don't know the song by the second chorus comes around, then we didn't quite get our job done. Yes, we're going to play our asses off and we're going to get our riffs and licks and everything. But it was all about just being to the masses. I wanted to appeal to a wider audience, which lends obviously to playing bigger places, bigger record budgets, bigger, hopefully, video budgets. Just spending so much time in the underground, I wanted to really take it out there. And this is the kind of music that I love anyways. You know, commercial hard rock with guys that can really, really play. Got to a point where I just said, well, just give Ray a call. Worst thing you can do is hang up on you, and that's kind of where you are right now. So what's the difference? And he said, hey, whatever he had going was his business. It's none of my business. You know, yes, I was in Fates Warning for 15 years during the classic era, whatever you want to call it. I gave 110%, but I'm not in the band anymore. So I just called him as a friend and said, hey, I'm trying to do this. Would you be interested? It's all groove. It's all hooks. It's all choruses. He said, oh, let me see. Send him something. First thing he sent back was Rise Again. And I just knew right then, there's magic. You just know as a musician when there's magic, and you know when you got to struggle. It's interesting throughout the course of this whole record, I never said to Ray one. Well, the whole idea was, here's the music. You do what you do. I'm not telling you nothing. I'm not even going to tell you where I think the choruses are. You figure it out on your own. And he completely blew our minds in that respect, where he was singing choruses where I thought there should be verses. He was singing over parts that I thought were going to be musical parts. But that's the beauty of the band. You have 5 guys, let them do whatever they want to do, and it just comes together, and everybody was smart enough knowing what the common goal was, and it just worked, and I knew there was magic. So that part of it was easy.
So any female singers did you reach out to and all those
No. Here's another. This was done very businesslike. I sat down and went, okay, what are all the things in your past that are like the hurdles that you have to figure out as you go? Okay, well, I don't hear a single. I don't want to hear, well, let me listen to it about 5 times and I'll let you know what I think. I wanted to come right out of the block. At the same time, I knew I could be wrong, but I knew I could find the greatest 27-year-old singer the world has ever seen. And there's not one label that would give a damn. They don't care. They don't care. Honestly, Robbie Wyckoff, who I brought in to sing backgrounds on a lot of the stuff, where again, with Robbie, hey, do whatever you want, man. Here's the song. This is what Ray's doing. You do what you want to do. Trying to create that 70s and 80s vocal texture. I mean, the guy's out with Roger Waters. Okay, please. I mean, the guy sang background for Steely Dan, Diana Ross, Celine Dion. Unbelievable. No one cares.
Yeah.
He doesn't have that. It's turned into such a thing now that's what it's all about. It's not like back, like, hey, I got this new band. Oh, cool. Let me check it out. It's like, well, who's in it and how many have they sold? So I knew that wasn't my intention to go with Ray, but it worked out as a benefit to that. So that's kind of how it all came together like that.
Yeah. He sounds like Steve Perry sometimes.
It's funny you say that, because I think that is his favorite singer, number 1.
Yeah.
And number 2, I'm not going to say the music was designed like Journey, but at the same time, there's a certain when you take
upbeat.
Well, that was another thing that we were going for right from the beginning. Enough with the doom and gloom, enough with the end of the world, enough with that. We're all living that. We don't need that. And it's been told to me several times in interviews that this is a very uplifting record. You listen to it, you're fired up. It's not like, oh man, I better go cash out my 401k right now because it's coming. It's very up. Like Ray says, he goes 4/4, give me more. He said it was, on one hand, he said it was a little bit more difficult because we didn't give him a roadmap of like, okay, dude, here's your verse, here's your chorus, which I intentionally didn't want to do. But on the other hand, he said, hey, once I got that really cool hook, I knew that it was just going to be a variation 3 times during the song. So yeah, I mean, that's a great compliment. If I was a singer, I'd take that one all day long. But yeah, I know Steve Perry is an influence and a big a favorite of Ray's, and I think Ray sounds fantastic. I think it's a little different than what people are used to him singing, and I thought he was able to kind of really stretch out there a little bit and not feel so restricted
down.
That's what I noticed. Ray just sounds great, and his voice really stands out. I mean, obviously you're drumming as well. There's a lot going on behind the scenes. There's a lot of beats and rhythms that are going that aren't at first listen is not obvious. Then you go back and listen. Oh, what's going on in the background there? So a band your pedigree. I mean, again, like you said, it's all about how's it selling. You've got great reviews. Is this greasing the rails for the second album?
Well, in our opinion is absolutely. I mean, we're writing right now. There's a lot of things I've learned over the years, and one of them is, if you can't control something and you've tried as hard as you can to do whatever you have to do, you kind of got to let certain things go and just do what you're able to do. Do I wish it was 1984 and we were on Columbia and opening up for Bon Jovi or something like that? Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be awesome. That would be perfect. Everything's changed, to be at this point. I'm not sure if people realize it, because this is the day and the age of, my dog could come in here and I could cut a record for him within the next 25 minutes. And you never know. It could pop. So
Viral.
People don't realize going from like basically nothing to the process, to getting the deal, to dealing with Hugh Syme, to getting it to that point, to get it all that way. It seems like anybody and their mother can do it, but it's so difficult. And especially if you want to keep it at a certain level. We all know the budgets aren't what they used to be. And I just didn't want to come out with another, oh, cool project. Hey, whatever, cool. Hey, Mark's not bored anymore, whatever. It was, okay, this is for real. I'm going to put my money where my mouth is, and we're going for this. Okay. Because I figure at this point in the game, if you're not going to go for it, why bother? I make too much money recording other people's stuff. Why bother?
That's a great point.
So that's what we did.
Let's get serious now. Let's talk about this album cover.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's a zebra.
Yep.
Last zebra I saw was that movie there. What was it? You got to move this. What was that? What was it called? I'm losing my voice here.
Let me take you back. The way this all came about, true story. Talked to about 12 different guys, album cover guys. Guys you know, guys you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
If I see another Viking serpent and someone getting their head cut off and two nomads going across the desert, I think I'm going to puke. Okay, enough. Stop. It's not that.
Bring out the zebras.
We're moving on to zebras. Well, the funny story is the name came about because we tried, and as you guys know, the name is the hardest part in a band to ever come up with.
Yeah.
Could you imagine we're sitting in the basement smoking a joint and, dude, call the band Rush. Yeah, right. Sure. Yeah.
Don't worry, there are people like that. There are bands like that. You know what?
I know, but what I'm
saying, I got an email saying we're a band called Triumph. I go, what?
Exactly. So, and Ray just said it one day. I don't know if he meant it from his name to my name or just that's all inclusive the styles. But anyways, again, I'm striking out with the artist. I'm thinking, okay, what the hell? Haven't talked to you in a long time. Worst thing you can do is hang up on me. Call him up. We're friends. We know each other and so on and so forth. We start mixing up his projects, my kids, whatever. And he goes, hey, what are you doing musically? And I tell him. He said, what's the name of the band? And I tell him. He goes, okay, man, let's just keep in touch. Seriously. 20 minutes later, he fires over the album cover without the logo. And then it just kind of went from there. I'm a firm believer that you find the best people that you have, that you can find, and let them do what they do. Yeah. I wanted an album cover that was a splash. I did not want same old. And the thing that I have noticed, whenever this album cover shows up with 6, 7, 8 other album covers, whether it's a chart or spot, whatever, it jumps.
It does.
And when Philip Bino said to me in the beginning, he goes, man, hey, I'd buy that shirt regardless if there was a band or no band, just for the image, And people said it right out of the bat. Love it, hate it. It's iconic. You can't miss it, And Hugh told me the story when he did Signals with the dog and the fire hydrant. Ray Daniels supposedly stormed into his office and thought he was nuts. What is this? And the guys in the band didn't get it. And it went on to be the most successful cover he ever did, he said. So
I love his sense of humor, especially with this. I mean, Signals is a good example too, but this one here, it's a perfect. It takes you a second. You look at it and you're like, oh, okay, okay, I got it. It's that instantaneous,
I did not want something that was just mediocre. I didn't want something that was just yuck, and good, bad, or indifferent. I think, if it's standing out, again. When I saw it, I thought merchandise. And then second, I thought live, with the screens and the backdrops and the rest of the artwork that he did throughout the whole thing. Wanted to go for that old school thing, not, hey, go to our website, check out our photos. It was like, I want kids or adults, whatever, sitting down with the album or the disc and going, oh, Trial by Fire. Oh, cool. I'm reading the lyrics and I see the artwork that goes with it. That's what we were aiming for. It was kind of like, go or don't go. Let's not like screw around here. you know.
Go big or go home.
Yeah, and I think it's brilliant. You know, some people don't get it. Some guys in the band in the beginning didn't get it, you know. And then as it turns out, when they start seeing it pop, they get it, you know. I would rather have an album cover that has a little controversy to it. And it's not controversy because it's like negative or like
it sticks out. That's what you're saying.
Yeah,
it just sticks out. Right?
It's not racially motivated or, you know, there's no one can
But
get
the band Zebra is probably saying, damn it, they took our idea.
Why didn't we do that?
Why did we do that?
Hey, tell him to call Hugh. You know, I'm sure he's got a bunch of other zebras hanging out over there.
But there's an apple. But there's an apple.
You know, I don't know. I thought it was absolutely brilliant.
That's nice. It's a cool cover. I like it.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys saying that. And it's interesting. It seems like, I'm going to say younger people don't get it, but they don't get it from those years of, you know, the album covers back in the day, the ones that like jumped at you and that you kind of went, whoa.
Yeah.
You know, iconic ones. It's like I said, you know, enough with the Viking and the serpent and everything being dark and the end of the world and cauldrons blowing up smoke and, you know, I'm not sure.
This sounds like it's your baby. You're leading the charge here, Mark.
Absolutely. I mean, that's why it says on the record that it was produced by me. Now, again, someone has to drive the bus. You know, you're not talking about guys who live in the same neighborhood where we can always get together and hash things out. You're talking about 5 different countries. Well, 4 different countries because Philip's in Arizona. Yeah. But it was my idea from the beginning. You know, the other guys didn't say, hey, Mark, let's do like a commercial rock album. It was my idea. I was ready to put my money where my mouth was, you know, and I did. And certain things, like when it came down to the album cover, I'm sorry, but someone has to kind of like lead the charge. And, you know, like I said, you know, put your money where your mouth is. And, you know, I made the decisions. It's something, you know, wanted to be in control of certain things. And, you know, I have a certain work ethic, kind of expect everybody to be on that same page.
Well, here's a question that me and Alan always talk to each other about. We interview bands all the time, and they always start off saying we're a band, we're a band, we're a band, and then, you know, we're not a project, but then, you know, it just sort of disappears in the wind. And again, we're not holding you to anything. Of course, you're going to do what is successful and keep going with momentum. But what do you foresee? Is this really a band? Is this, you know, going to go hit the tour trail? Is this a band? Or do you think it could be, and then if it's not, it's not? You know,
No. Here's the thing that you have to take into account, and I don't know the other bit. Put it this way: you stick 6 guys together from 6 real famous bands. That's a project, okay? Because they're going back to their bigger bands. Okay, I get it.
Sure.
And there's labels out there that's all they do. They just churn them and burn them. No, this is a band. Now, bands change members. Yes, you know. Do people not want to be involved? Yes. Do you know, this guy go there and this guy that way? With this band, if I'm leading it, it kind of starts and stops with me in the respect of, if everybody says, hey, Mark, stick it in your ear, cool. I'll go get other guys, you know? But that's the whole thing we're talking about. Someone needs to drive the bus. You know, if I wasn't pushing it and it wasn't my baby, and I wasn't contacting you, Simon, I wasn't getting in touch with the guy to make sure everybody got their publishing, got it set up right. You know, if I'm not dealing with the videos, the merch store, blah, blah, it's endless of what that is, then we'd have 3 songs and no singer. And those 3 songs wouldn't be finished. So, like it or not, and everybody's go, oh, you know, Zonder's so pompous and whatever. No, if you want to get shit done, you got to
lay down the law.
Well, it's like, you know, it's like, I'm leading. If you want to follow, cool. If you don't, I'm not holding you to. I never said, hey, man, okay, guys, everybody pony up a couple grand. We got to do some stuff. Never. You know, everybody got paid. It's cool. You know, they got paid. It's cool. You know, but I love the band thing. I want it to be the band thing. I want everybody to contribute to that. Sometimes it just comes down to the other people. You know, I can't control anybody. You know, let's say, we're working on a few things. Giles calls tomorrow and say, hey, man, you know, at the end of October, they want you in Greece for a couple gigs and, you know, we'll film it. We'll do this and that and the other. And I call some of the guys and they're like, well, man, you know, unless I'm making like 4,000 a night or, hey, I'm busy, whatever the case may be. That's cool. There's more than one guitar player, keyboard player, bass player. You know, I mean, it's like, it is a band in that respect. I didn't get into this to do one and done.
But you're going to go on tour. That's what you're planning, right?
Yeah. We're pushing and pushing, and it's that classic thing of like, well, let us get through the bands from 2021 that got blown out, and let us get through the festival season. But the big thing to us was, hey, the record came out. It's got positive response, except for the orthodontia that the zebra needs. And so, let's see where the offers start coming from and how it's going to work. I think people are available. I don't think that's the problem. I think it's just a matter of, it's such a tight problem. Then you talk to Giles and all you hear about is all the airline problems, the logistics, the travel, the this, that, the other. And the last thing you want to do is go out for the first time with a band and have it a disaster.
Yeah.
So, but no, absolutely. We're in the middle of writing songs. I could play you a little. No, we have stuff. We have stuff. We're working on a lot of ideas. I think between November and the beginning of July, I had like 106 different ideas that I recorded.
Jeez.
It doesn't take much.
I like to say some great drum patterns on this album. I just want to add that. I know Alan talked about it a bit. Some great. What kind of, and just actually, I just getting off another tangent. What would the set list look like on tour? Would it be a little bit of this, a little bit of that? We're going to throw in some maybe Fates Warning songs. What do you think?
Well, what do I think? Well, this is
cover tunes. I don't know.
The buck stops with you, Mark.
Yeah.
You're signing off on all this.
Well, I sequenced the record. So basically, that was sequenced like a live show.
Oh, okay.
Now, you can't really open with Trial by Fire. I think that could be, you're kind of giving away your the most successful song to this point.
You're shooting your load too early.
Yeah, I can't. I hate to say that, it has the most views. That's what we're talking about right here. I like to say it sold the most units. It's got the most airplay. Anyways, but yeah, that brings up an interesting dilemma because you're talking about 55 minutes worth of music. Now, it's obviously been discussed. Warlord, Fates Warning. Does Ray feel comfortable playing it? I don't know. It's a bridge that needs to be gapped. I don't really want to rely on that. I'd like to think this stands by itself. No, it'd be a little weird playing songs that no one ever heard, even though I remember seeing Boston on the very first tour way back when, and they played stuff from the second album that you didn't see for 30 years later, something like that. But I mean, they weren't playing cover tunes, but I don't know. Do we do extended jams? Do you lengthen your songs a little bit more? I'm not sure. Here's
what I suggest.
Okay.
I suggest you do your whole album like you planned, and maybe you start off with a Fates Warning song, and you end off with a Warlord song as an encore.
I think it would be great. I have no problem with that. A lot of that's going to sit, with how comfortable Ray feels with it. So I'm going to have to leave it in his.
Get him on the horn. We'll work this out. Be you and Alan and Ray.
The last thing I want to do with any of these guys is make them feel, awkward.
That's our job. That's me and Alan's job.
Well, I've been in enough situations where I'm the awkward guy, and I don't dig it. True story. I don't know if anybody, a little trivia for you. My very, 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 very first gig with Fates Warning was in Iguanas in Tijuana, over the border there. Really cool place, like a little mini arena. Probably only holds 700, but really cool. And we actually played Lucifer's Hammer from Warlord.
Oh, there you
go. Why not? Right.
Welcome to the band.
That was one and done. I don't think Jim wanted to do that one after that.
Are you going to be doing? Are you going to be doing a Warlord tribute?
No, absolutely not.
No,
absolutely.
You don't feel comfortable? No.
Here's the thing, and yeah, you can say whatever you want about Mark Zonder and Warlord. Warlord was built. Period. End of conversation. I caught a great ride. I gave 150%. I handled all the business. That whole thing was him. Picture this: 17-year-old kid in San Jose, California, very right wing, sitting at a bus stop in the rain, kind of long hair, sunglasses, got the earring, the striped shirt, the Capizios, the really tight jeans, writing Lucifer's Hammer. Seriously. It's him. I'm not into that. I understand when people go out and honor, if someone else wanted to do it like they did with that record, they did a tribute record out of Greece. God bless. I signed off on it. I ain't playing on it. I'm not that. No. It's and to go out and, you know, get a guy that can play Bill stuff or whatever. I'm sure someone, you know, there's a million guitar players that are really good that can cop stuff, and you know that's not a problem. Certain things, you know, just like I'm a firm believer in certain songs you don't redo. There's just certain things you don't, you know, he was, you know, if there was a band and we'd been together 30 years and all of the four other guys were still together kind of thing, that would be a different discussion. But people just really got to know and realize that that is him, man. That dude had, I mean, he had concepts, he had, it was all him, and it's doing a total disservice to try to mimic it, you know.
Okay.
Like we were talking earlier, we want to call them projects or not, but a lot of bands that kind of form this way, that we want to take on tour, but scheduling and getting everybody else, it's going to be hard to tour with everybody's schedule. So Ray would be available. What there's is Fate's Warning continuing to be on hiatus? There's nothing happening, and he'd be able to contribute full time to this project,
Well,
this band.
Like I've always said, you know, I left 15, 16 years ago. I have no idea of what the politics, the business, anything. It's none of my business. You know, my dealings with Ray is like, dude, you know, I've talked to him before. I said, hey, you know, if things come up, he goes, yeah, you know, let me know. You know, it's business. You know, it's really business. It's like, do I expect a Ray to go out in a van and make $12 a night and play really horrible gigs? Nope. I ain't doing that either, but that's beside the point. It has to make sense, and I get it, but it's really up to him. But yeah, he told me that, you know. So I don't know, you know, again, when you start dealing with all these different people that, you know, we didn't grow up together, we don't hang out together, so it's really tough to get a gauge on it. But we all know when business opportunities happen, you know, people seem to gravitate toward that. So, you know,
What's the demographic you're hearing, or from a lot of these reviews and the feedback you're getting from the album?
unbelievable. I mean, I don't want to sound like that guy that, oh, everything, you know, oh no, the world loves us. No, I've heard, you guys will get a kick out of this. Guy goes on and he just drools over the record, just goes on, and everything's great, 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 great. Gives it an 8.5. Okay. There's a guy that goes in and he starts talking about how I'm pompous and how I'm talking about playing to the masses and how we want to play bigger places, and just totally just chops at me, and it's fine, whatever, and talks about this and that and whatever, and then gives it a 9. So I'm going, the response in the interviews that I've done, and I've done a whole bunch of them, the main point that I take away is they get it. They understand this isn't Fate's Warning Mach 2. They understand this is what it is, and it's made to be a commercial hard rock, everybody feel good, but also appeals to musicians. So guys can sit back and not go, I can play that, you know, that kind of thing. So they're more involved, and it's like, wow, you know, that's Mark, that's Ray. Like, damn, where did this Juke guy come from? You know, it's like, oh man, buying a whole, oh my God, you know, that kind of thing. So it's crossing it. People are getting it. We're not, I was always kind of concerned, and that's why very early on I stuck it out there. This is not this, this, and this. This is what this is. Take it or leave it. Because I didn't want to hear all the reviews talking about, well, you know, it's not very proggy and it's not Fate's Warning Part 2. It's not supposed to be. So that's the main thing I get. But I don't hear anything. I hear more about the cover than I do negative response about the music. You know?
PETA, why is that zebra on the cover eating an apple?
Hey, he got paid.
Is he torturing them?
He got paid well. You know,
he got paid well. All right, some comments here.
Well, I just want to go, Jim, if you don't mind, just before you get to that, I just want to, my takeaway, Mark, okay? A handful of bands can do prog well, Fate's Warning being one of them, okay? But this format now, you're competing with a lot more bands that with similar sound, kind of, I won't say middle of the road, but you used the word melodic earlier. So what are you going to do to kind of stand out from the crowd? Because now you're dealing with a whole other crowd, if you want to, if we can use that term.
You mean the zebra didn't do it?
It did for me.
Zebra did it.
I always think we need to go with sex. You know what I mean? No.
Zebra and bikinis.
Naked zebra.
Possibly. Hey, don't be surprised if there's a zebra sweeping the stage at the end. But no, the just, you know, as we move forward into the new music, a little bit more wild, a little bit more reckless, a little bit more, now that we've kind of, you know, we have a foothold, you know, and people know who it is, kind of turn it up a little bit with the energy and excitement kind of thing. not far off from where we're going, but now that we've been established per se with a record, just continuing on with that. But I think what really is going to separate this band is just the consistency of the song. Like I always said, this is 11 singles. It got to the point where when we were getting down to the end, I sat down and I listened to all the songs and okay, we got enough ballads. Okay, cool. Okay, we got enough up-tempo songs. Okay, what are we missing? And it was like, okay, it's kind of like that slow kind of grinder kind of song. We don't have that. So I sat down at 92 beats per minute, played a couple grooves, sent it off to Viv and Jupe. We started working, and all of a sudden, that's where Borrowed Time came from. So we're looking at it like 11 singles. We're not looking, hey, we got Trial by Fire, we got Stranded, let's put an 11-minute opus on here. We're not looking at that. It's songs. It's always songs. I always looked that you have 11 songs, make them all possible singles. Make them all possible that someone's going to love that song,
Here's my only complaint. You want to hear my only complaint?
Sure.
Want to hear it?
Yeah.
The Silence Broken is a bonus track. I'm going, why is it a bonus track?
It's not a bonus track. Okay,
but
here we go.
The Silence, and that shouldn't, that's my complaint. Why is it a bonus track?
It's only a bonus track. Okay, here's the problem.
It should have been the first track too. I thought it was like a real strong opener.
Oh no, it's I see it as a closer. And it's funny you mentioned Steve Perry. I picture Journey and in a big arena, and Steve Perry's doing the vocal thing, walking back and forth to the stage, and you know what I'm talking about. Here's the thing. It's not technically a bonus track. What happened was the length of it could not fit on the vinyl. And the label did not want to do a double thing where you got like 2 songs on one side of a record, 3 on the other. No, and the whole Japan bonus thing is out the window. That's not even happening anymore. So it wasn't a bonus. What happened, like I said, it couldn't fit on the vinyl. It's on the disc, and there's a digital download on the vinyl. What we didn't want to do is not put it on a bonus, and people are going, well, wait a minute, the record, why does the record not only have 10 songs? And that would have occupied 4 hours of interview time. So
it's been clarified now. It's been clarified. We're all good.
Yeah. Oh no.
Complaint retracted. Complaint retracted.
Okay. Good. Now we're 10 for 10. No. I love that song. I thought that song was the feel-good hit of the summer myself.
That's what I'm saying. That's why. That's what I thought. Of a bonus track.
Definitely an 80s feel to it. Definitely an 80s feel.
It's that, and it's that, like you're talking about with the drum patterns and the electronics, and just I see the whole point. Whenever on this record, I think I've done this my whole career anyways. It's about the groove. It's about the pocket. It's about so people can tap their feet, even if it is in 6.5, let's say. But and this record has so much pocket in it and so much groove. It's like that song right there. You got all this crap flying around, and the same thing in Trial by Fire during the verse. Cowbell, this, that, the other. Kick and snare, 1, 2, 3, and 4. It's there. You can't miss it. It's there.
Yeah.
So no, I definitely see that one. Yeah, that's. All
right. As we continue this interview, we're gonna go 5-1. Your favorite all-time drummers. They could be alive. They could be dead. Me and Alan spoke about this. Jimmy, they gotta be alive. I go, no, Alan. How can we leave out some of the greats if they're alive? There's some great ones that died.
Yeah.
So let's go with your number 5. Can you count them down?
Oh, yeah. It's funny. I had it going down number 1 down. Okay, let me back it up.
We'll go to 5. It's more exciting this way. It's more exciting this way leading up to 1.
You got to put Cozy Powell in there.
Okay. All right.
You just have to. Huge Rainbow fan. Kind of just dug his attitude. Is he the greatest drummer of all time? Technically? Maybe yes, maybe no. Probably no. Great drummer. Love the traditional grip. Love the attitude. Yeah. Got to put Cozy Powell there. Ready to move on?
Sure.
Alan, what do you got? 4? Let's go to 4. Go to 4.
This one you'll never hear on your show ever again.
Okay.
Sammy Davis Jr.
He played drums?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's the thing I'll never forget, and I've said it before. Best performer I've ever seen in my life was Sammy Davis Jr. No questions asked. My parents took us to the Circle Star Theater when I was like 16 or something. I think Candyman came out. It goes black. The light comes up from behind him. He has the bowler. He undoes the tie. and he does Mr. Bojangles, and it's just, you know, amazing tap dancer, amazing drummer that a lot of people don't know. Just like, you know, you can do it all. Just can do it all. Just great.
Wow.
Great guy. Just
I knew Stevie Wonder played the drums. I did not know Sammy Davis Jr. played the drums.
oh no, absolutely. Number 3.
No, wait, pause. Kenny
Oh.
says, I love the new album, AZ Rules. Mark Zonder is a beast that's raining on your parade. Rob Johnson says, Trial by Fire is amazing. So there you go. To your point, Mark, a lot of good feedback. And you're not, it's real feedback. That's what you're getting a good vibe, right, on the internet.
No, absolutely.
Metal Madness, the album is really good. Would love to see this live. So that's a big thing. Alan, do you have another question before I go to number 3?
No, I'm anxious to hear the other ones. After Sammy Davis Jr., I don't know what to expect anymore.
Number 3. That's my drum roll.
Yeah.
Number 3.
This one's not going to surprise anybody, but Steve Smith.
Okay.
Just because here you go, you know, going back to what, you know, A through Z, here's a guy, ridiculous chops, but playing in a commercial format and making it kind of stepping out a little bit, you know, from just being boom tap, and just really just a monster player. Also, the thing I really admire about Steve Smith, as much as he's lost me a couple times, the guy is like over the last 10 years or whatever it's been, has just taken the drums out to a point where like you kind of lost everybody, dude. You're so into it, and you've just like lapped everybody so many times with your not technology, the advanced, you know, the thinking and how he thinks and plays. I just really have to take my hat off to a guy who's into it and dedicated. It's got to be a love, obviously, but into it that much to keep pushing it and keep pushing it and keep pushing it. And, you know, that's like a trailblazer compared to this guy who's just going to sit back and, you know, hey, I'm going to cash it out and be good. And that's cool too. There's nothing wrong with that. God bless those guys. You know, if you can make money in this business, I take my hat off to you. Do I admire you as a drummer? That's a different story. But, you know, no, Steve Smith, without a doubt, you know, playing traditional grip, just tearing it up, you know, the floppy hair and the mustache and all that stuff back in the Journey days, and just playing behind those songs, who just completely, you know, opened up a lot of stuff for me, you know, really did.
All right, here's a curveball for you. We're going to pause it right there at number 2. The most overrated drummer. You know what? Why does this guy get so much? I mean, you don't even have to answer this question, but maybe it's something that's, you know, on your mind as a drummer. You're saying, why does this guy get so much praise when really he's okay? He's not the best.
Well, I've said this all along from day one. If you're popular, a lot of times people confuse being a great musician and a great technician and a great drummer compared to being, you know, a good drummer in a band that's very, very, very successful. You know, Lars is a good example. The guy worked his ass off. They stuck to it. He did his thing. Hey, we all can't be Vinnie Colaiuta. You know what I mean? And who wants 25 Vinnie Colaiutas? One's good enough. I mean, it's like, but a guys like Lars, I understand. I get it. Guys in really popular bands, you know, get certain attention, and that comes with it. And I think that's great. I have a problem with that. But usually when you're talking about a guy and you go, why is he getting so much attention? You know, he's not that good. It usually comes down to
I think Lars is the reverse of what you're saying. I think a lot of people shit on Lars, but I think he deserves a lot more credit than everybody puts him down, I find. But I think, wow, you're listening to those first 4 albums, you're going, oh my God, this guy, he's got the drive. Maybe he's not the greatest drummer, but he's got the drive, to your point.
Yeah, but I think a lot of people put him down because he's successful, and we all know how that one works.
Yes,
and it's so funny because he took so much shit for the Napster thing, and was that guy like just seeing the future or what? Yeah. You know what I mean? And people like to pick on certain people at certain times, and let's face it, you know, Metallica is a band. It's not a guitar player. It's not a singer. It's a band, and God bless them, and God bless Lars for driving that bus and just pushing and getting on that bus to go to rehearsal or whatever and going across. I mean, God bless those guys. I mean, but I think, you know, going back to it, I mean, yeah, he's a target. And there's a lot of other guys too. You know, the funny part is when people like dog out Charlie Watts. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, whatever. Again, you know,
But but Charlie Watts is not in Rush. That's the difference, right? It's like,
well, yeah,
you
but,
know,
but then again, you know, if you have to, here's another question though. Here's a curveball. We all love Rush, no questions asked. But if Neil was in a different band that we didn't all hear about, you know, that wasn't so damn popular and so big and loved by everybody, you know, there's a million dudes out there that are intense, you know. But I've always said playing well is good, but you got to get it into that band format. You got to get it into the public eye. You know, these guys that shoot these videos of playing 19/4 while drinking a cup of coffee and itching their ear at the same time, that's all cool. But number one, it's not music. And number two, until you get it into a band format, you're just going to be sitting in a basement coming up with all this stuff. And that's cool if that's what you want to do. There's no problem with that at all. But, you know, again, you know, some guys, you know, right place, right time. And, you know, usually a very popular band, you know, that's going to get that thing where certain people will blur that line and think because he's in a popular band, they sell a million records, that he has to be good. They're selling a million records. He has to be a good drummer. They're selling a million records. So I think
here's another curveball here. I'm just going
to.
And again, if you don't want to answer it, don't worry about it.
Oh, I will.
Tommy Aldridge. Like here, they bring Ozzy wanted this drummer. He wanted him. He gets rid of Lee Kerslake, which was a great drummer. He brings in Tommy. He does Bark at the Moon, Tommy. And then from what I'm hearing from Carmine Appice is that he had to go in and sort of tweak what he did because it wasn't studio perfection, right? According to Carmine, right? Now, then you notice later on, Tommy's no longer in the mix. So, I mean, is he more of a live drummer or is he's not a studio drummer? He's more, I don't know. What's your opinion on Tommy Aldridge?
Oh, love Tommy Aldridge. He would be sitting at number 6 probably.
Wow.
See, I go back to Pat Travers, you know, Eating the Street. What was it? Go for What You Know, or what? The live album?
Mm-hmm.
Damn. I mean, I don't know. Put it this way. You know, God bless Carmine and whatever he's telling you, that's great. But you listen to that live album and you listen to Tommy Aldridge and that Pat Travers, what was it? Go for What You Know, or with that?
Something like that. Yeah,
something like that. Oh my God, Mars Cowling and Pat Thrall, unbelievable. And you ain't faking a live album unless someone came in and overdubbed everything for him. No,
which is the case.
You know, well, on a live album, you never know. You never know. No, Tommy Aldridge, he a certain.
And I'm not here to shit on him either. I'm just saying, what do you think?
No, I mean, but you don't play in all those bands if you're shitty. You know,
exactly.
You just don't. And there's stories every single day of guys getting replaced on the track. You know, it's so funny. The guy who say, "Yeah, I just went in and did Joe Blow's new bass track." Well, that guy just got his bass track replaced by another Joe Blow. You know, so when you get into a recording studio and a producer has a certain vision and so on and so forth, you know, I'm surprised they just didn't do what 99% of all these other bands do, just chop the crap out of Pro Tools and align everything the way they're supposed to do it. You know, but you know, I don't know. I love Tommy Aldridge. I love you know, especially in the later years, it got really straight up and very similar. But if you just go back to Pat Travers, you know, I see that linear kind of sideways kind of floating and grooving kind of thing that, you know, or you can go back to, you know, Jim Dandy, go back to Black Oak, you know, but no, you know, God bless him. What is he, 73? I mean, you know,
now he's still playing with Whitesnake.
Yeah, exactly. So you know, well, again, would Coverdale have him if he was horrible?
No.
You know, so I mean, those are bands that could have anybody they wanted, and no, I think he's great. Plus, you know, I love the fact that you always see the dude. He's got a smile on his face. You know?
Yeah,
he's happy to be playing, man. You know.
Yeah. We're ready for number 2.
Yeah. Dave Garibaldi, Tower of Power.
Who is it? Sorry.
Dave Garibaldi, Tower of Power.
Tower. We're going back. Tower of Power, right?
Well, they're still alive and they're still playing.
They're still around?
Yeah. When I was a kid, or even when I was growing up, I didn't study. Oh, here we go again. I didn't study Carmine's book. I didn't study drum beats for the professional rock drummer. I didn't do stick control. You know, I had my lessons when I was 7 out of a Buddy Rich book. We might have a tie for first. Anyways, I didn't do what everybody wanted. I didn't learn all the same fills that everybody learned. Mm-hmm. So when I heard Tower of Power, I just went, damn. And that's a Bay Area band. And I was raised in San Jose, along with the Doobie Brothers and Pablo Cruz. But the the playing and the ability to make it groove and not be so rock bashy. You know, I studied with a guy that was like one of his friends or disciples, learned a lot of stuff, went through his books, stole all kinds of stuff. It just really opened my playing up. You know, it got me out of the standard rock and roll kick and snare kind of thing and really got into different areas. You know, I spent a lot of time over the years studying Afro-Cuban and different things just to get away and bring other ideas in. I'm still going to be a rock drummer. You know, I'm not going to be playing on the Tonight Show or anything like that. But to bring those elements and make me different, make me special, make me stand out and be noticed. I always wanted to be noticeable. Oh, that's Mark. You know, I can hear his sound. You know, if not, I would have just turned around and just took any gig that I could have taken and made money and done whatever. But I was always striving for that. But Dave Garibaldi just completely blew my mind with the stickings and just really opened it up. And you can hear it, you know, all over my playing. You know, a lot of people might not recognize it as that, but you know, when you sit down with a guy's book and you study it for 6 months and just rip them off blind,
Yeah.
you're gonna see it at some point. That's where that whole double cowbell came in. You know, the whole thing with the cowbell on the left and the cowbell on the right that you hear, and that whole thing of orchestrating with the left hand, whether it's the electronics or around the toms, to create those kind of melodies. He was doing that with the kick snare and the hi-hat kind of thing. And I got a lot of that kind of stuff from him.
All right. All right. Is everybody ready for number one? And before you give us your number one, I want to know what everybody else's number one is who's watching. Alan, who's your favorite drummer, Alan?
My, you know, favorite, if you're talking my, you know, the best
Top
drummer or anything
three.
like Mark said, but you know, there's lots of drummers. You know, Mark being one of them, Tommy Aldridge, Vinny Appice. There's lots of drummers out there, but there's one that holds a special place in my heart, and because he services the song, and for me, that's what a drummer's supposed to do. You know, keep the time, but also it's fine that you do all kinds of fills, but if the song doesn't call for that, you're kind of wanking off a little bit, you know. And one that I find particularly does it well is one of my favorite bands of all time as well. It's Brian Downey of Thin Lizzy. He was always in the pocket.
Absolutely.
And any drummer I talk to says, like, this guy is quality.
But you know what's interesting? I don't put him in a boom tap simple kind of way. He was always slick. He was always in the groove, always in the pocket and all that kind of stuff. But what he had that a lot of other drummers didn't have is he had a jazzy bounce feel, like Don't Believe a Word. He made that work, and that's not easy to do. Believe me, every drummer just can't sit down and do that. He had a certain something. Oh no, Brian Downey, that's a great one. That's absolutely.
All right, I'm going to read some. Steve Barker says Tommy Aldridge. He also says Vinnie Paul for sure. Paladin says Dave Lombardo, which Dave Lombardo is just an incredible drummer if you listen to this first few Slayer albums. Paulo says Mickey D, another great. I mean, when we went to see the Scorpions,
we just saw Lord, Mickey D.
He just took the Scorpions songs to another level. It was like, geez, this guy was just, he brought sort of like, not to say that, you know, the drumming was terrible in the past, but he just brought it, he sort of elevated the songs. He just brought this new vital energy.
Energy was the word I would use compared to
Herman Rarebell serviced the songs, and God bless him. But I think what you're saying is there's like a shot of adrenaline.
That's the right. Yes,
it just seemed that way. You know, it's not like he was going Motorhead speed or anything, but compared to the past Scorpions tours I saw, it just seemed like there's an energy there that was maybe lacking in the past.
No, I know what you're saying. Hey man,
I mean, he's older than us, me and Alan, and I'm going, how does he do it? I don't think I could do that for too long. I try to turn on the light switch sometimes, and my arm gets tired. You know,
my arm gets sore hanging the clothes out on the clothesline.
Mark, how old are you?
64.
I mean, that's a workout, isn't it? Being a drummer, that's a workout.
Yeah, it is. But the truth be told is, you know, I've been working out and cycling for years and years and years and years and years, and you know, you kind of got to, you know, be in shape for it. You know, I never drank, never smoked, was always into the physical fitness, not to the like ridiculous, stupid thing and like not eating ice cream for 12 years. And, you know, not like that, but to the point where, you know, I've never, knock on wood, had a problem playing. And, you know, I was taught at a young age, everything correct posture and correct this and correct that. Never had a problem, but I just always thought that the physical is just just as important as the mental part. And, especially, as you get older, things are going to fail that you don't have any choice over. So try to protect yourself as best as possible.
A drummer's very physical. Okay, Fraser is saying Nico McBrain, another great drummer, right?
Especially, you got to go. If you listen to the first, I'm not sure, first, second, whatever, Making Magic, Pat Travers.
Maybe.
It's Nico.
Nico's on there.
Nico's on there.
Nico's on it.
Oh, yeah, Rock and Roll Susie. I'll never forget, being a kid, looking at it, and that was one of the very first albums that they listed as drum kit. He was playing like a Heyman drum kit or something. Back in the day, you had no information. You don't even know what guys look like.
Yeah.
There's no internet, nothing. And here's his album, Making Magic. We used to cover Rock and Roll Susie, and I guess we tried to cover Life in London. But anyway, but no, Nico back then, smoking, man, smoking, really good.
Another one, Oscar saying Ken Mary, who plays with Flotsam and Jetsam now, and he played with where did he play before? I forgot.
I'll throw. Sorry,
I thought it was Alice Cooper at one point.
Oh wow,
maybe it was.
I'll throw out a name. I'd like to get Mark's opinion because it's somebody that's impressed me. The more I listen to him, the more he impressed me. Is Chad Smith from the Chili Peppers.
That's not a good. That's a pause there, Alan.
I had the Chili Peppers in my studio for years. Okay. I saw up close and personal. And this isn't a cop out, but for what they do and everything, he's great. He's great. I mean, he is part, again, I think that to me is a band. That's like a band of guys meshing together. I
was listening with stuff he did with Chickenfoot, the stuff he did with some of the Glenn Hughes albums. Yeah. That impressed me more than his Chili Pepper.
There's a lot of pauses in Mark's voice, Alan. I don't know if he's that impressed.
Not hate, not love, whatever. Not high on my list. And I'll be honest, I'm just not a big fan of the band. It's just not my thing. Cool. Yeah. I know a lot of people will crucify me for that, but you can't. I like what I like, and I don't like what I don't like, and it is.
One of your opinion.
Okay, here's my Neil Pert from Rush, and I will pronounce it Pert because that's how we said it when we were young. Neil Pert from Rush, as a good Canadian boy, the professor. He's to me the ultimate drummer. He's busy. He's a perfectionist. You see him in concert, he's completely focused. There ain't no fooling around with Neil. Then he whips around the acoustic drums and brings out the electronic drums. Then he whips back the acoustic ones. He's pure perfection, and he knew when to stop. When he goes, you know what? My body can't do this anymore. I'm leaving on a high note, and that's what he did.
Yeah.
Thoughts, Mark?
Yeah. The thing about Neil to me isn't so much the technical prowess per se. Mm-hmm. It is more, and I remember coming home from high school and All the World's a Stage and cutting class or whatever, and sitting on there and listening to Bastille Day and Anthem. What I got out of Neil Pert in my career was the fact that he was, which is actually probably more important than the technical. There's a lot of dudes that are technical, and we can talk technique all day long. Is the fact that he made it cool for the guitar players, singers, and bass players to go, hey, the drummer can come out. The drummer doesn't need to go boom tap. Because a lot of guys before Neil were doing that, and the guitar player would be going, knock it off, stop. Like, what the hell are you doing? Save that for the solo album. He made it cool. Well, he made it okay and cool to bring it out, And then even further than that, when he started bringing in the glockenspiel and the this, that, and the other, he made it cool for drummers to start integrating stuff like that. Even though I did get a few looks in Fate's Warning when I started trying to slip that old cowbell in there. They're kind of looking at me like, what that? I'm like, hey man, you fool no one, Deep Purple, right? Come on, man, put that thing in there. But I thought his contribution was more of taking the drummer from the back and putting him, in line with everybody else, or even out front.
He could read and write, which Geddy Lee was very impressed. Look, this guy can read.
Boy, it must have been slim pickings up there in the old, cold there, boy. If that's your qualification, hey, you're in the band because you can read.
Well, because he can write the lyrics. He reads books and he can write lyrics.
Absolutely.
I think
the fact
go back to what Mark was saying. It was probably that Keith Moon influence on him that get him to get out in front like that.
And now that's another great drummer. He's just all over the map, man. Yeah. Keith Moon, what a style.
No, absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. So,
All right.
are we? Wait a second. Are we ready for Mark's
Here
number
we
one?
go.
Here we go, Mark.
Well, there's the
Number one.
honorable.
Well, wait a second. Hold on. Before we say something, Dream Theater. Do you prefer Portnoy or Mangini? Like, I mean, there's always this huge debate right now, amongst the Dream Theater people. Who fits better with the band? I mean, there's some great music for both eras.
Do you want the politically correct answer, or do you want just Mark Zonder straight up, and then everybody can bash me later?
Mark Zonder straight up.
Straight up.
Never been a Dream Theater fan. Period. Okay. Again, it kind of surprises a lot of people. I don't sit around and listen to UK all day. I don't put Zappa on.
Sure.
Yes, I played in Fate's Warning. Okay. Yes, certain things were called upon and needed to be. You listen to Warlord and you wouldn't go, oh, this dude's like totally into fucking prog. You know what I mean? You listen to other bands that I play and you wouldn't say that. I'm just not a prog guy from that point of view. You like the way I got point of view in there? Yeah. But I've just never been a big fan. It just never resonated.
And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
I mean, hey, plenty of people aren't Mark Zonder fans, and that's fine. But I'm not going to sit here and bash this and say that sucks, this sucks, blah blah. It's just never straight up music. Put the needle on the platter, sit there and listen to it. Number one, I'm not a big fan. And yes, I know I played in Fate's Warning. I'm not a big fan of music that I can't just kind of groove to. When it starts moving all over the place, I'm not a big fan. Just me. I'm an old man. My heart can only take so much, so I got to keep it kind of straight. But I've just never been a big prog guy. I put on a Bad Company record in a minute.
Yeah.
Just maybe it's my age and where I came from. It's a funny story. Back in the day, totally into Emerson, Lake and Palmer. Totally into it. Because this is like what the cool kids were doing. I didn't understand a damn thing Carl Palmer was playing. Half the time now, I don't even understand what he's playing. But I'm like a 9, 10, 12-year-old kid. Oh, wow, brain salad surgery. Cool, whatever. Lucky Man was cool, obviously. Mm-hmm. Still You Turn Me On was great. Beginnings, great. When they started getting fucking crazy and he's banging the bell with his teeth, as a 9, 12-year-old kid, I have no idea of what he's doing. But it was cool.
Yeah.
There's showmanship too in drumming, right? And that's kind of like the Eddie Van Halen kind of thing that he brought. The big gong in the back with the fire.
Yeah, but I'm just into like guys that just tear it up. Just tear it up and we're good. I don't need stick twirling. I don't need, I've seen a couple of these guys on the internet that's their gig and it's like, they should just be on the stage by themselves and they're jumping around and all that. Whatever anybody wants to do.
Tommy Lee. Now he's kind of like, when I was a young kid and people really dug Motley Crue, they go, oh, Tommy Lee's the greatest drummer ever. And I'm thinking to myself, is he really, or is it just all the twirling and sort of the showmanship of it all? What's your opinion on Tommy Lee?
It's a popular band and God bless them. Like I said, if you can make money in this business, and you're doing it legally, man, you're right up there in my book. I cannot say a negative word. I might not like your band, and that's my prerogative, But hey, the fact that you did this and made money, God bless. I'm envious. I'll be honest with you. I'm envious. How'd you guys do it? Funny story. I did an interview the other day, and the guy asked me, and I'm not going to do his little accent that he had, but it was kind of funny. He said to me, he goes, with today, what do you think you could learn from a band like Greta Van Fleet? And I said, well, I go, are we talking music or are we talking business? And I go, well, let me spell it out really simple for you. I would love to know who's behind that. I would love to know what they did. I would pay to find out how they handled the business. How did they get these guys? And we're not even talking about good, bad, or different. How do you get a band like that? That's a rock band, supposedly, allegedly. And how do you get a band like that out there, and exposed? How do you do that? I'm bewildered. Again, goes back to the same thing with Motley Crue. If you're doing that kind of stuff, I'm in awe. I'm just like going, man, I don't know how to do that. If I knew how to do it, I would have done it. I still haven't figured out how to do that. I'll
tell you.
Okay.
Either you've got deep pockets.
Okay.
Or you just connect. There's just this connection, Some people just connect just with this masses right off the bat.
But how do they get in front of the masses? Now,
Well, I mean, Greta Van Fleet, I could tell you, they were just on an indie label with their father sort of like managing them in a sense. And it connected, like the right video on the right day, on the right time. And it all just went, it's kind of like Bieber. He had a video on YouTube. It just connected. It just the right video at the right time. These are the small percentage of the population that ever, that flukes it off.
Because when we started this, I talked to the guys and said, hey, how about we do this? Why don't we write this killer music and we do this stuff and we're going to have it fronted by a bunch of really good looking 25-year-old dudes. Or better,
it might not work. It might not work. It might not connect.
It might not connect, but
unless he pulls his pants down, he has a big schlong like Tommy Lee. But
you never know. Bring Graham Bonnet out of retirement. I mean, whatever. Or you do it with girls. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What I'm basically saying though is, at this day and age, who knows like how you connect?
That's right.
Don't connect.
But how many other Greta Van Fleets are there in the garage that didn't connect, that should have connected? That's the real question.
Well, no, exactly, and that's why I'm saying my question is how do you get that to go? And I know
I'll tell you.
Okay.
This is my restaurant theory. You could have 10 restaurants that are equal in good quality food and service on a street. Yet one of them just seems to connect with everybody. The right place, the right time, the right people, and the other ones just go bankrupt over time. It's just, life has that small percentage of people in every industry that do well, and they don't really do much. They're just like everybody else, but they just seem to do well.
Well, let me paint this scenario to you because it's come up several times where they use my quote when I say beer commercial, car commercials, and Cobra Kai. Okay? Picture it. Cobra Kai. Johnny wakes up in the morning, half drunk. Goes over to a half-drank Coors can, crushes it, starts to drink it, it dribbles all down his shirt. He gets up, puts the sunglasses on, stumbles out to his car, turns the car on, as he's about to shift down into gear, trial by fire pops through his stereo.
Yeah.
Bingo.
Yeah, that could be it too.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's like, again, people, thought I was nuts.
And he was wearing a zebra shirt too, if you remember
absolutely.
that. Right. I mean, and he just wore it just like that.
How about if he exactly, but how about if he had an apple dangling from the mirror? I mean, whatever. I mean, what I'm saying is, though, it's kind of that right place, right time.
Yeah.
And this is like the worst time ever for that as compared to what it was when it was flying. But that's where that quote comes from. Hey, if you can launch your, just ask Ronnie James Dio with Man on a Silver Mountain in the Coors commercial. It's like, it's kind of one of those things where if you can get to that kind of outlet, because it's not like you're going to get there and the people are going to go, wow, man, 12-minute songs and they're an odd time. And I just don't get it. This was made for that thing. It was made for that.
On that note, Mark, and I know I've been sort of going off on tangents. That's what we're about here, Mark. That's what we're about.
We don't follow any script. What script?
Okay, number one, Mark. Give us your favorite all-time drummer.
Or honorary mention.
Let me give you the honorary mention first.
Go ahead.
Really, it has to be Buddy Rich, and the only reason I say that is just because that is the true godfather of the drums. Yes, there was players before and everything, but the one thing I loved about Buddy, as much as he was a jazz guy, he had that rock and roll attitude of stick it up your ass, and his attitude, playing the drums and just talking. He had that attitude. It wasn't like, hey, how's everybody doing? Hey, great, man. I'm really glad you. No, he was just the salt of the earth and monster player, obviously, but just love that attitude and the way he carried himself as a drummer. He didn't have to be the guy in the back. So he was actually the guy who brought it forward before Neil did, but he did it.
And Neil loved it too. The way you held his sticks there.
It's just the whole thing. So this one's going to probably throw you for a loop unless you've read a lot of stuff up on me. Ainsley Dunbar.
Oh, wow.
Ainsley Dunbar.
Now, for a lot of people who don't know, he's been around forever, played with Zappa. So obviously he can play. If you're playing with Zappa, you can play. John Mayall Blues Breakers or whatever they were called. I know this is going before a lot of people's time, but where Ainsley hit me was I was 12, 13 years old in San Jose in the Bay Area. Journey was from the Bay Area. So those first 3 Journey albums before Steve Perry, and it was metal fusion, and they would sing and then have an 8-minute song. And we used to go see them at the old Waldorf. That I looked it up. It says it held 600. I swear it only held 250. Really small place. I was literally 20 feet away from the stage, like right there. Ainsley Dunbar was the first guy that I saw that inverted a china, that had it upside down, that everybody does. I'm not saying he invented it. First time I saw it live. Played traditional grip and tore it up. He didn't play like a jazz player. And his drums had the stars and the moons on it. Okay. So that's all cool. The guy's just tearing it up. But what I really learned from him was the four-way independence of using your left foot, and the importance of timekeeping with your left foot, and how to incorporate that in how you play. You have 4 limbs, use them. Okay. A lot of those guys that you talked about today, all these guys that are at this top of everybody's list, they're not using that left foot. That left foot sitting there on that second double bass pedal, ready to launch. I ripped off, and I would sit there with the turntable. Yes, it was a turntable, and pick it up, and then I'd start playing the drums and would shake the turntable and be like, "Oh damn, don't play so loud." Put it back, and the linear style in a rock metal fusion, and I don't mean fusion guitar up around your neck playing kind of cute stuff. I mean, like, if you guys, I'm sure you guys have heard those, Of a Lifetime, Cahotek, and just those first 3 Journey albums. It's mind-boggling. I mean, Neil Sean is not what everybody thinks Neil Sean is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, and we used to sit there 20 feet away and just kind of go like this. Seriously, it was coming at all angles. I mean, it was just intense. But I learned so much from him, as far as the playing and the utilizing of all 4 limbs. And honestly, if I passed him by and did that, I'm not sure if I would have fallen into that. And I could be a lot of these other guys that every once in a while, just because it moves them, they feel like, hey, let's step on that thing. But that is, to me, I've always kind of looked at it like this. Okay, snare drum, you can hit it hard, you can hit it soft. Okay, you can hit the rim, you can put the stick across the rim. Bass drum, you can hit it hard, hit it soft. Cymbal, hard, soft, whatever. The hi-hat, you can play it with your foot. You can play it with the stick. You can open it. You can close it. You can create so many different things. And I totally fell in love with that years ago. And I'm sure you hear that all over my playing, with the cymbals and the hi-hats and the different things. I thought it's such a perfect accompaniment to a heavy driving sound, to bring it light, to bring it back heavy. And I know a lot of guys, they're like, what are those cymbals there for? I didn't order those. What are they there for? And to me, that's the most intricate part, because when I'm playing, I'm keeping time with that left foot, and it just locks everything else in together. It's like having your own metronome, whether it's on the downbeat, whether it's on the offbeat. I mean, whatever, But Ainsley Dunbar, man, without a doubt, my number one guy.
Wow. Good
the
choice.
octopus.
Yeah, and the dude, what was intense, man. I think he's like 6'2", and I'm only 5'8",
Wow.
but he was like 6'2", and man, you go see him play, and it's just like, man, it's like it was coming at you, and not in a thrashy way. The dude plays jazz like nobody's business. I mean, and they would go into these floating patterns, and he was playing that jazz kind of ride cymbal, but with a totally syncopated, I don't want to say Bonham Leonard Hayes kind of kick drum pattern, but it was just, yeah, it was, I'll never forget that. And you're talking like, what, 50, 45 years ago, And,
yeah.
he is quite the player.
You just slipped in Leonard Hayes there, didn't you?
Oh, absolutely.
Like
Another
that. I love that.
Oh, no,
Talk about a good left foot.
Oh, absolutely. Beautiful dreamer. What cracks me up, and I could be wrong, but every live recording that I've heard of Y&T, or we used to call them Yesterday and Today, with other drummers, they never cop that part. They never cop that beautiful dreamer, that Bonham-esque, Bernard Purdy, whoever you want to call it, that thing that Leonard Hayes uses to nail. We used to see them all the time too. He'd show up in his hockey jersey, 4-piece kit, big, kind of Bonham-y, and just he tore that shit up.
And another drummer that me and Alan love is from Anvil, Rob Reiner.
Yep.
He's another, I see him playing that Buddy Rich, the way he holds his stick. He plays a little jazz there. He's doing some swing. He's just all over the place.
No, a lot of those guys, they were trained a certain way and learned a certain way, and that's how it was.
Yeah.
And some guys bring it into their style, some guys don't.
All right. And on that note, everybody, go pick up the new album A to Z. Is it A to Z or AZ or A.Z?
It's kind of A through Z. It's kind of anything you want. Good press, bad
A through
press.
Z.
Yeah, A through Z was technically the original, and again, hardest thing to do is to come up with the name of a band.
Yeah, sure.
I mean,
next time you need a name for a band, just call me and Alan up. We've got a lot of good ones.
Uh-huh. You ever hear the Journey story? You ever hear the Greg Raleigh story?
No.
Well, when Journey, they didn't have a name. And so they went out and they were, like I said, KLOS in the Bay Area. They put it out to back then, radio call in, and there's all the interaction with the people. And Greg Raleigh goes, yeah, someone thought we should call the band Rumple Foreskin.
Oh,
it's like, okay, we're not going to leave that to the public. You know what I mean? Well, the name is the toughest.
We'll never get to the masses. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. That one wouldn't have flown too well, But,
all right. So
anyway.
The album's out. Pick it up on all the sort of streaming services and the Amazons and anywhere you could pick up an album. It's great. It's fun to listen to. It's upbeat. No, you won't. If you love Zonder and if you love Array and the rest of the gang, you will definitely like this album. Thank you so much, Mark, for being on the show.
My pleasure.
See, we waited a bit, but it was probably the best interview you had. So the best for last. That's what they always say.
Well, I was going to ask you guys, is it the best one that you ever had or no?
Of course. Every interview is the best one we ever had.
Keep telling everybody that. Keep telling them that. Again, man, it's so funny because punctuality. I always look at this as a sales pitch because this is what this is. This is a sales pitch, nothing more, nothing less. And when we got all our wires crossed, and that's being polite, I felt really bad, and I was actually very disappointed and frustrated. It's like I said originally, and I'm not trying to blow smoke or anything, but for 6 months, dude, Giles, when are you going to get me on the show? Come on, man. Come on. Get me on I'm tired of watching this on the air, and I'm not on it. Like, get me on the damn thing. You know the guy. I see your face on the show. Get me.
And when Giles calls, we always pick up. He's high priority.
And then promptly hang up.
You've reached the voicemail of the Metal Voice. Please leave a message.
But no, again, my apologies. But no, I really appreciate your guys' time. And appreciate all the help and the support. Anything you guys need, let me know. And obviously, anything happening, I'll let you know. I'll let you know how the tour stuff's going.
Yeah. Tell us how the tour's coming along. Hopefully, you'll come by in our neighborhood.
Absolutely.
We'll hook up. All right,
Mark, it's a real pleasure. Been listening to you for years. Love your drumming, and I'm glad to have you on the show here today, for sure.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate your guys' time and support.